The diner was alive with the clatter of plates and the hum of conversation. Neon lights flickered outside, casting a pink glow over the checkered floor. Sarah, a waitress with tired eyes and a quick smile, balanced a tray of steaming coffee mugs. Her sneakers squeaked as she weaved through tables, the air thick with the scent of fried bacon and syrup. It was a typical Friday rush at Rosie's diner, but tonight felt different. A sleek black car had pulled up earlier, its engine purring like a caged beast. Whispers spread among the staff. That's Ethan Caldwell's car. The billionaire CEO. The man who owned half the city. Sarah didn't care much for gossip. She was too busy dodging spilled ketchup and cranky customers. But when Ethan walked in, the air shifted. Heads turned. His tailored suit hugged his broad shoulders, and his sharp jawline caught the diner's dim light. He sat alone in a corner booth, scrolling his phone, exuding a quiet arrogance that made Sarah's skin prickle. Hot and arrogant, she muttered under her breath to her coworker, Mia, as she refilled a coffee pot. The words slipped out, careless, unguarded. Mia's eyes widened. A nervous giggle escaped her. Then silence. Sarah's heart froze. Ethan's piercing blue eyes flicked up from his phone, locking onto hers. The clink of cutlery faded, and the world shrank to that single moment. Had he heard her? His lips twitched, a faint smirk forming. Sarah's cheeks burned as she turned away, her hands trembling slightly as she poured coffee. Did he hear me? She thought, pulse racing. She risked a glance back. He was still watching, his expression unreadable. Was it amusement? Annoyance? Something else entirely? The rest of her shift felt like walking on eggshells. Every time she passed his table, her stomach knotted. He didn't speak, didn't complain, just sipped his black coffee and left a crisp $100 bill under the mug. No tip had ever felt so heavy. As the diner's neon sign buzzed into the night, Sarah replayed the moment in her head. What did that smirk mean? She couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end of it. Have you ever said something you instantly regretted? Something that might have changed everything? The next morning, Sarah woke to the scent of rain and the buzz of her phone. A text from an unknown number. Meet me at Caldwell Tower, 10 a.m. EC. Her stomach dropped. Ethan Caldwell, the billionaire. Her mind raced back to her careless words. Hot and arrogant. Had she offended him? Was he going to sue her? Fire her? The diner wasn't even his property, but men like him could pull strings anywhere. Her hands shook as she tied her sneakers, the laces slipping through her fingers. Caldwell Tower loomed over the city, its glass facade glinting like a blade in the morning light. The elevator ride to the 50th floor was silent, save for the soft hum of machinery and Sarah's pounding heart. She stepped into a sleek office, all marble and steel, where Ethan waited behind a massive desk. He looked different here, less like the man in the diner, more like a king on a throne. His eyes met hers, and that same smirk flickered. You're punctual, he said, his voice low and smooth, like velvet over steel. I like that. Sarah swallowed hard. Mr. Caldwell, I didn't mean to offend you last night. Her voice wavered, but she held his gaze. He leaned back, fingers steepled, studying her. Offend me? He said, almost teasing. You think calling me hot is an insult? Sarah's face flushed crimson. She opened her mouth, but no words came. He stood, circling the desk, his polished shoes clicking on the floor. I'm not here to scold you, Sarah. I'm offering you a job. Her breath caught. A job? Here? The room seemed to spin. Why me? She blurted, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan's smile deepened, but he didn't answer. Not directly. You've got something I need, he said cryptically. Honesty. Guts. He slid a contract across the desk, the paper crisp and heavy. Sarah stared at it, her mind a whirlwind. What does a billionaire want with a diner waitress? The question hung in the air as she reached for the pen. Would you trust a man like Ethan? Or is this too good to be true? Sarah's first day at Caldwell Enterprises was a blur of glass-walled offices and whispered rumors. Her new role, special assistant to Ethan himself, The title was vague, the pay was obscene, and the expectations? Unclear. She sat at a desk outside his office, the city skyline sprawling beyond the window. The hum of phones and the click of keyboards filled the air. But Sarah felt like an imposter in her borrowed blazer. Ethan's voice cut through her thoughts. "Sarah, in here. Now." Inside his office, he handed her a folder labeled Project Phoenix. "Read it. Summarize it. By noon," he said, his tone clipped. No warmth, just command. The folder was thick, stuffed with charts and jargon Sarah barely understood. Her palms grew sweaty as she flipped through it. This is a test, she realized. But why? What was he looking for? She glanced up, catching his eyes on her again, intense, unyielding. The air felt charged, like the moment before a storm. By noon, her summary was shaky but done. She handed it to Ethan, her heart hammering. He scanned it in silence, his face unreadable. Seconds stretched into eternity. Finally, he spoke. "Not bad, but you missed the point." He leaned closer, his cologne sharp and expensive. "This project isn't about numbers. It's about people. Trust. Can you handle that?" Sarah nodded, unsure if she meant it. His gaze lingered, as if searching her soul. What does he see in me? That night, alone in her tiny apartment, Sarah stared at the folder. Project Phoenix wasn't just a business deal, it was personal. Notes in Ethan's handwriting hinted at a family secret, something buried deep. Why had he trusted her with this? The rain tapped her window, a restless rhythm. She couldn't sleep, her mind buzzing with questions. What's he hiding? And why did it feel like she was already in too deep? Have you ever felt like you're part of something bigger than you realized? Weeks passed, and Sarah settled into a strange rhythm at Caldwell Enterprises. Ethan was a puzzle, charming one moment, cold the next. He'd flash a smile that made her heart skip, then bark orders that left her reeling. Yet, he always watched her, his eyes catching hers in quiet moments. The office air was thick with tension, like a wire pulled taut. One evening, as the city lights twinkled below, Ethan called her into his office. "Stay late," he said. "We need to talk." The office was empty, the silence heavy. Ethan stood by the window, his silhouette sharp against the glowing skyline. "You're not like the others," he said, his voice softer now, almost vulnerable. Sarah's breath hitched. "What do you mean?" she asked, stepping closer. He turned, his face half-shadowed. "You see me. Not the money. Not the name." His words hung in the air, raw and unguarded. For the first time, Sarah saw past the arrogance. A flicker of pain, a crack in his perfect mask. He told her about Project Phoenix. It wasn't just a business venture. It was his attempt to save his late father's legacy. A failing company tied to his family's name. "I can't let it die," he said, his voice breaking. Sarah's heart ached. She wanted to reach out, to comfort him, but something held her back. Is this real? She wondered. Or is he playing me? The moment stretched, fragile and electric. Then, his phone buzzed, shattering the silence. His face hardened. "We're done here," he said, turning away. Sarah left, her mind spinning. The elevator's hum felt deafening. She couldn't shake his words, his vulnerability. But doubt gnawed at her. Was Ethan using her to fix his past? Or was there something more between them? The city lights blurred as she walked home, her footsteps echoing in the quiet. What's his real game? And why did her heart race at the thought of him? Have you ever trusted someone you weren't sure you should? The gala was a whirlwind of chandeliers and champagne flutes, the air thick with perfume and ambition. Sarah stood in a borrowed gown, feeling like a fish out of water. Ethan had insisted she attend, his hand brushing hers as he handed her the invitation. Now he was across the room, charming investors, his laugh ringing out. But his eyes kept finding hers, a silent pull that made her pulse race. The music swelled, a violin's mournful cry cutting through the chatter. Then it happened. A man in a sharp suit approached Sarah, his smile too slick. "You're Ethan's new pet project, aren't you?" he sneered, handing her a flash drive. "Read this. You'll see who he really is." Sarah's fingers closed around the drive, her heart pounding. Back at her apartment, she plugged it in. Files spilled across her screen, emails, contracts, proof that Project Phoenix was a front. Ethan was planning to sell his father's company, not save it. Betrayal stung like a slap. Was it all a lie? She confronted him the next day, her voice trembling with anger. "You used me," she said, tossing the flash drive on his desk. Ethan's face paled, but he didn't deny it. "You don't understand," he started, stepping closer. His hand reached for hers, but she pulled away. "I trusted you," she whispered, tears burning her eyes. The office was silent, the air heavy with unspoken words. Ethan's eyes pleaded, but Sarah turned to leave. "I'm done," she said, her voice breaking. As she walked away, the city's hum surrounded her. Her heart ached, torn between hurt and the memory of his vulnerability. Was there more to his story? She didn't know, but she had a choice to make: walk away or dig deeper. The answer wasn't clear. Have you ever had to choose between your heart and the truth? What would you do if you were Sarah?